Hello, my Redskins fans. Welcome back once again, my fellow feathered tribesmen, into this channel where we discuss everything Washington Redskins. So do me a favor, go to that refrigerator of yours, pull out yourself a nice tall glass of whatever your preference. Sit back, kick your feet up, and let me take the helm for just a little while. In this channel, where we may not always agree, but the admission here is free. I am your West Coast host, Burgundy Fly Guy, and this is Well, I'm willing to bet some of you have been wondering just where the hell I've been. It's good to be back. It's good to be back on video. It's good to be back, be pumping out some footage for you guys. It's been a tiny bit. I think the last time we've spoken, it was probably right around the 2018 draft and my opinions on the draft. I did not cover this off-season quite like I wanted to. I didn't have the time. Frankly, there really wasn't a whole lot of drama in this off season, which, to tell you the truth, is really kind of comforting. It's something that we had a little bit of a taste of last season, and then this season's kind of been the same thing as last, and it's been good. I think that the ridiculousness of some of the media and how they clamor for stuff to write about really kind of turns me away from putting out any video. That stuff just gets old after a while, and I think that with enough time that you put into making videos, the less inspired that you become. And I know I had mentioned something in my previous couple videos that I was really contemplating on whether I wanted to do this anymore. It's been something that's been weighing heavy on my mind for about the last 4 or 5 months, especially recently. And to kind of keep you guys abreast of the situation going on with Burgundy Fly Guy. Long story short, I was working a menial job in order to try to make ends meet, and I was working graveyard shifts. And for the better part of, I'd say over a year, frantically searching for better employment, something that would yield a bigger paycheck to help sustain the type of lifestyle that a normal person would want to have. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of you out there that are like that, and I'm not exactly saying anything that I think that some of you are not aware of, or at least don't know what that is like. But working graveyard straight graveyards. It definitely offers you the opportunity during the day to do what it is that you need to get done. And last year, all the way into this off season, I had all kinds of time to even the job that I was working for pennies on the dollar basically, but it required me to sit on my ass and do nothing. And I would do a lot of research on my football team, and it offered me the unprecedented opportunity to really watch a lot of college game film, which I don't get a whole lot of time. I can't think of the last time in 10 years, besides maybe the 2012 season, where I've had a big opportunity to really sit down and peruse game film for college. College football just does not row my boat. To think of a cleaner term, it just doesn't blow my skirt up any. And it is a little frustrating, a little mundane to watch it. I am more of I'm just used to the pro product and seeing everybody being at that level and seeing the level of competition at the NFL level. That is what I'm just so accustomed to viewing, and that's what I enjoy watching. But when you have all kinds of time, you have all kinds of time to think of different things that you want to do to occupy your time. Like, take a look at the college talent available at nose tackle in a 3-4 defense. And that was what I did. I came up with a tremendous spreadsheet and had all kinds of time to really, really look up a bunch of players. So going into the season, I've got a pretty good idea what some of the college talent out there is like at that position. And I know what some of the rookies look like at that position coming into the NFL. And that was it for me. I kind of hung my hat up on it, and I was able to get some things in my personal life squared away, which is what I really, really needed to do. But more importantly, I was able to find another job. And this job was a tremendous opportunity for me, a wonderful opportunity for me. And it had the opportunity to yield a hell of a lot more money than I was making before. For those of you that don't know, I have kids, and my kids right now are fully grown and out of the house and doing their own thing, and now it's just time for Burgundy Fly Guy to do whatever the hell Burgundy Fly Guy is going to do with his life. So I have taken off on a new adventure, and this adventure that I have embarked on requires a lot of travel, and I'm going to be traveling back and forth. A majority of my time will be spent in the greater Seattle area. I couldn't get any closer to that Seahawk fan nation. It's fate. It's fate slapping me across the face. It's that cruel hand of fate. But the Seattle market is growing in some areas, and I happen to be right now smack dab in the middle of it, and I'm making a really, really good paycheck right now, a really good paycheck. And thank the Lord, thank the people responsible for that. But unfortunately, the requirements to do this job requires a lot of my time and a lot of my effort, and it's a field that I am not all that educated on or experienced on, but I'm learning, and it's going to require a lot of my time to figure out how it works, let alone take off and try to make it work. So I'm kind of holding two hats here, learning about the job and doing the job. All that being said, I travel a lot for the company that I work for, and I have company equipment that I have with me that I got to take with me at all times. And I'm in the process right now of taking a look at taking the BFG show mobile. That has been one of the things that I've really wanted to take a look at, is how can I do this show? If I want to do this show, how would I be able to do it? Because I'm gone a majority of the week, and I'm going to tell you right now, folks, I'm not going to be able to spend a whole lot of time watching game film. And so these videos are going to be very interesting. The ones that I pump out, you're going to see me pretty much, I'm going to have to sneak in an hour here or an hour there to watch a half here or a half there, and then come out with something late in the week. And I think coming out with something late in the week, like on a Thursday or a Friday night, is probably about as good as it's going to get for me. So we just got done playing a Week 1 Arizona Cardinal team. That was last week. Today it is officially Saturday, and tomorrow we play against the Indianapolis Colts. And I'm coming up on Week 2 without having come out with a video. And it's going to look like that here a little bit going forward. There's some advantages and disadvantages to doing that, and I've been doing that a majority of my time on YouTube, not necessarily coming out with things on videos on the day of the game, because I like to really immerse myself into video. I'm not going to have the opportunity to immerse myself in video. I've seen the Arizona game once Mind you, I have spent a lot of time going over a lot of plays, but I don't have the kind of time that I used to have. So for those of you that will be able to bear with me, and for those of you that are able to stick around and put up with me, I really, really appreciate your time and having to spend on my video and get my opinion on what's going on so far. A lot's happened. To bring you up to date on Redskins news, we've lost players, we've gained players, and frankly, I'm not going to go into off-season stuff here. The only thing that I would like to bring up, two individuals that I'm most interested in, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are interested in, is Alex Smith and Adrian Peterson. I'll tell you right now, when I found out that we had signed Adrian Peterson, I was nowhere near as excited about signing him as I was about finding out what we signed him to. I was not happy when we signed him. This middle 30-year-old running back who's injury prone, at least towards the end of his career, who wants the ball every single play, and obviously has a lot to prove in the league to be able to sustain that career as long as he possibly can. But then when I found out what we signed him to, I was like, we're not paying him a whole lot of money. So maybe this isn't such a bad idea, because frankly, I think that everybody knows that Darius, Geis is our running back. That guy is our future running back. And I can't think of a better motivational tool than to bring in a good Adrian Peterson to run in front of him and to take his place after suffering that horrible, horrible injury in the preseason. I hope that we don't bring him back too soon. I don't think we need him as of right now. We have a really good running back setup. But I like Adrian Peterson in the role that he's in, and only because the money is good. If we were to sign him to a huge, huge contract, then that would have been just absolutely crazy. But I think that the ball was in Adrian's court. I think the advantage was all ours. There's nobody else that's looking at Adrian Peterson, not even close to sniffing that guy. And we're hungry to give somebody a chance, somebody that we don't have to pay a whole lot of money to. And Adrian Peterson is hungry to prove himself. If he does really, really well this season, and the odds are totally against him, given the age and the type of running style that he has, we'll see if he's able to make it through this season and get close to. I think if he's even able to get close to 700 or 800 yards this season, which he's off to a great start because he ran for 100, I think, in this last Arizona game. He's off to a wonderful, wonderful start. If he's able to get those kinds of yards, he's going to be able to sign a very lucrative contract. Not necessarily with us. I don't think it would be with us. We've already got our running back of the future pretty much at home. And he's young, and he's got a big, big future in front of him. But it's a prove-it deal for Adrian Peterson. And playing against his former teammates was a great motivational tool for him, and he ran really, really well. He's got to hold on to that football. He's got to see those holes a little bit clearer. But in the last few years, I don't think he's played behind a better offensive line. And that's been one of my gripes about this season, has been our offensive line. And I got to tell you, just to go in a little bit in the offensive line in this last game, I was impressed with what our offensive line did. I think there are things that I'm tired of saying. There are things that I'm tired of talking about. And it just brings a smile to my face to think about how tired it is that I am of talking about certain things. I've noticed certain things early on. I'm just going to jump right on into my opinion of this Arizona game. Running the football. Obviously, we are still very, very much wanting to pull guards and centers and tackles out into the open flat and across center and off center in order to open up running lanes, get to the second level, open up lanes for our running backs. I get that. We did that. We've been doing that for forever. And this last game is no exception. I recall in the first quarter, the first time I saw, and the last time, thank Christ, the last time I saw Sean Lovell pull across center from the left guard spot all the way over to the right to try to make a block, and it was abysmal. It was embarrassing, and I was so pissed when I saw that. And I said this 2 years ago. Fans of the Twin Feather. I said, you should never, ever consider pulling Sean Lovell across center. And then what we did later is we pulled him off center. We pulled him from his left position out to the left side and into the flat. We're so much more successful at doing that. And it was good to see, and I would much rather, part of pulling guards, and I'll tell you this right now, part of the success of pulling your guard is the stout ability of the tackle to do his job. If the tackle's not able to do his job, you can pull all day. It does not matter. It's not going to work. But you've got to be able to have your anchor, your tackle, your center, your guard, whoever it is you're pulling across, to be able to sustain his block so that your running back and your lineman can cross around behind your butt and get out in the flat and make a difference. If you're not able to sustain your block, if you're not able to hold your man, that whole play is bust. It's a moot point. And pulling Sean Lowe out to the left, it offers him more opportunity to get around one man instead of three. And Sean is great in the open flat if you can get his ass out there. Even running behind him as a freight train, he's good. But I would much rather run him around the back of Trent Williams' backside, because Trent Williams is so much more stout at holding and sustaining his block. I just honestly think that we were afraid of certain individuals on that Arizona pass rush. I think that if you would have given our coaches a choice, they necessarily wouldn't. I can't even think of the guy's name right now, but the individual that Trent was blocking, Chandler Jones, I don't think you would want to run a pulling guard in the direction of a Chandler Jones. But I think once we started to see how Trent was doing against Chandler, that we started pulling the trigger on not only pulling our guard, Sean Lowe, but also pulling our center. And they pointed it out a couple of times, Chase Rouillet. I got to tell you, I said it last year that I started to see a little bit of glimmer of hope for Chase. He was starting to improve. Because when he first went in the game at center, the first game he played, our guards were covering for him immensely because he was new to the position. He was brand spanking new. He wasn't quite that big. He didn't have a whole lot of time behind his belt, and he was getting crushed with double-A gap pressure when he really needed assistance from our running backs and our guards. We're not seeing that this time around. He's doing much better. He must have put in a tremendous amount of off-time study and conditioning in order to play this position, because he looked really good. I got to admit, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Arizona is still trying to blow up A-Grab. Arizona will come in and they will fake zone blitz, or they will come in and flat out blitz. From what I have seen, they did it 50-50. And for those of you who don't know what double-A gap pressure is, it's when you've got a center and you've got two linebackers that line up on your left and your right, and they're faking that blitz. As soon as you snap that ball, they're going to gap. They're going to gap rush on your left and your right side. And as a center, you can only pick up one. You could try to pick up two, but we got two linebackers coming in your gaps, man. It's really difficult. And not to mention, there's a defensive tackle in there too that a guard has to pick up. So you've got to know your assignments. You've got to know who you're going to pick up. And if your center is weak, or if your guard is weak, that double-A gap pressure is huge, because you're going to get to the quarterback faster if one of those positions is weak. Now, I was seeing that once we started to get a little bit of success with running the football, we started jumping Chase Rouillet out in the flat, getting him to the second level and knocking that linebacker off center and running behind him. I think the teams are going to have to start taking a look at this new and improved position at center, because we're getting really creative. I enjoy it. I love what we have done on offense with this running game. And assuming that the running game is going to be the backbone of what keeps this team even keel, if it's going to be a success, you're going to be seeing a lot more big-time runs, because, right now we've got we've got a phenomenal 1-2 punch right now with Adrian Peterson and Chris Thompson. I don't think I have ever, given the potential, and mind you, this is a big ask, a huge ask, and I'm not sitting here waving my flag saying the Washington Redskins are going to any Super Bowls, or going to be whooping up on anybody's ass, because, again, we're running behind a 35-year-old running back here who I question his ability to make it through a full season without getting injured. My money is against it, not running like this. His body's not going to be able to take the pounding, and take it from somebody who's closer to Adrian Peterson is closer to my age than half the people on this football team. And I'm telling you, man, as an old man, you think that you're young. until that body starts taking a pounding. And when you got to wake up in the morning with all those aches and pains, it takes you longer to recover. And this guy takes great, phenomenal care of his body. But let's not take, Mother Nature's undefeated, folks. Mother Nature's undefeated. I don't care how many hot tubs and massages, and I don't care what his diet is. After a while, that body's going to start breaking down. And it takes longer for that body to repair and to heal, and to maintain what it is that running back position requires you to maintain at a much older level. Just the joint pain. And folks, October comes around, the temperature starts dropping, you start playing in these colder climates, your joints don't feel any better. For those of you that are out there that are in your mid-30s and beyond, you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. That weather starts going down a little bit, especially for those of us that have had surgeries on some of the small tissue damage that we've taken over a lifetime of living on this planet. We start to realize that when the weather starts getting colder, the joints start aching and hurting a little bit more, and your arthritis starts kicking in, and it's not such a good time. It takes you a little bit longer to get warmed up. It takes a little bit longer to get out there and do what it is you got to do, and we're not running backs in the NFL. Adrian Peterson, come October, I'd love to see where he's at in October, after a couple of months, even November. I would like to see after a couple of months when we got to start playing in some colder temperature places, how well that body is going to be holding up. That'd be very, very interesting to me. But Adrian Peterson right now so far looks good. On 72 and sunny inside of a dome without being affected by the weather, he looks really, really good. So this weekend we'll be playing against the Indianapolis Colts, a team will be playing at home. And that's another thing to bring up too, is that he's not exactly playing a hometown, a homegrown team inside of a dome. He's playing out in the elements. And when that temperature starts dropping in that Maryland area and the snow starts creeping up on you, I would very, very much like to see where Adrian Peterson is at. And hopefully he's there, because that 1-2 punch is lethal. With the running ability of Adrian Peterson and how much he wants to get those yardage, and then you get that slasher and that gasher with that guy, Chris Thompson. Some of those runs we had, man, were great. Phenomenal runs with that 1-2 punch. It's very, very difficult, especially when you're going up against a tired defense that's getting their faces kicked in. I, for one, would like to see, and I'm going to bring this up too, because this really, really upset me. I would like to see a little bit more implementation of Jordan Reed. But there's something I want to bring up, and I wrote this in my notes. The very first play of the game, very first snap on offense, for those of you that remember that very first play, Arizona had been doing their homework. They've been doing their homework for the last couple of years on us. And I'm telling you this because we threw a pass, very first snap, very first play. We threw it to Jordan Reed. And Jordan Reed drew a penalty against the defense. And the penalty was unsportsmanlike conduct. It was targeting to a defenseless receiver. Go back and take a look at that play. For those of you that remember my Cincinnati game in London, do you guys remember my rant and what it was that I bitched about in that game? I went on, and I was pissed from that game. I'm still pissed about that game. I still don't like the Cincinnati Bengals because of that game. And I think that there is shades of this homework that they've been doing when it comes to our tight end. I think there's certain teams out there and certain players that know to target this guy. They know to target this guy, and he's got concussion issues. He's got injury issues. If you smack him hard enough, I'm pretty sure with some of these teams it's worth taking an unsportsmanlike conduct if you can knock Jordan Reed out of the game. That's a huge, huge weapon for us that's not going to be available. And I hate to say it, folks, but I can't help but think, and I'm going to go on a limb by saying this, and I'm probably wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. But when you're desperate for a win, you'll do anything. I think that there may be some lividity to the idea that this hit was intentional. That hit on Jordan Reed was to put as much pressure and to hit him as hard as he could in the head in order to give him a concussion and get him out of this game. There's no other attempt by the defender in this game to wrap him up, to bring him down. There was no football move. It was straight helmet-to-helmet shot. And it drew the penalty, and it deservedly should. But I'm going to be looking for this season. And you guys heard it here first in the BFG show. When it comes to Jordan Reed catching that football, there may be some teams out there that are headhunting him because they know if they hit him hard enough, he's not coming back for the rest of the season. If you hit him right enough, hit him hard enough, once you get those concussions, man, they don't go away. They just become much easier to sustain. And he took a big shot. He took a really, really big shot. I really, for one, would like for him not to be a blocker. I said that this offseason. I'm saying it again right now. I really think we need to get rid of him as a blocking option tight end. I don't care if he comes in the football field and people know we're passing to him. I don't care. He's done a much better job of blocking. I just would like to sustain. I would like to narrow his margin of chances of getting a concussion as much as I possibly can, and that's one of the ways that I think you can do it. Going back. Defense. I'm gonna mention a couple of things on defense. I was surprised with the rotation on defensive line. We started out Ioannidis, Payne, and Allen. Ioannidis, Payne, and Allen played for almost 2 full series before we rotated them out. Last year and the year before, we did a really, really good job of making sure that our defensive line didn't have any more than 3 or 4 snaps on a regular basis. An irregular basis, sometimes you see those guys in there for a little bit longer, but I'm starting to see those 3 in this game play for a little bit longer, and I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think we need to do that, to tell you the truth. I think that putting them in there for a couple of plays a series, then pulling them out, I think that's the better way to handle it. These 3 individuals are not necessarily stopping the run that I would like to see them do. But then again, 2 of these individuals are really, really young, and one of them is inexperienced. I'm not going to expect a whole lot out of those 3. I'll have to admit, Ziggy Hood and Tim Settle, they surprised me. They did really, really well. I'm not saying they're better than Ioannidis, Payne, and Allen, but they're great. We have the depth, the defensive line. We don't need to keep those 3 main individuals out there for 7 to 10 plays in a row. There's no need for it. Leave them out there for 4 or 5 plays and then rotate them out for some fresh bodies. That's what I'd like to see. Another thing I'd like to mention, and I'm going to bring this up, and I want some of you guys to do your homework here. I want some of you guys to write this down, wherever it is you guys watch football games, on your phones, on a tablet, on a piece of paper, and post-it note to your damn forehead. When it comes to Tim Settle, watch his weight. He looked in phenomenal shape in this game. In fact, I think this is the best I've seen him in 2 years. He looked in game shape. And I'm pretty sure that Virginia Tech's probably a little pissed off right now because they've been trying for years to get him to bring his playing weight down, to make him more versatile, to make to make him a better option, make him to get that cardio up so he could last longer on the football field. If you guys remember my synopsis on Tim Settle, one of the things that I mentioned about him in my previous videos was I questioned his cardio. I questioned his ability in the 4th quarter. And I got to tell you, I was surprised. One of the first things I noticed in the 1st quarter was Tim Settle looks slimmer. He looks good. He looks good. He needs to be a space eater. He needs to be a big boy, but we can't get him too big. We can't have him packing on too much weight because we need him to be just as strong in the 4th as he is in the 1st. We need him to be a strong, versatile, big space eating sumbitch in that middle spot, but we don't need him fat. And he looked great. But it is an issue with him. And I'm going to be paying attention to that throughout the weeks. I'm going to see how that weight fluctuates, especially when it gets towards the later end of the season, when your body starts aching and your eating habits don't change and you're not working out the way that you should. We'll see what happens with that weight. I would like to see him keep that weight right about where it's at right now. But he looked great, and I'd like to see more of him at that spot. And I think we could rotate him in there a little bit more. Our linebacker situation, I think our linebackers couldn't have taken a longer time to warm up and get in this football game. I don't think it was till probably the 2nd quarter, if not the 2nd half, where they finally started to wake up, pull their head out, and really start to try to make a difference on defense, especially against the running game. I'm worried. I'm worried, Redskin Nation. I'm worried, fellow fans of the Twin Feather. I'm a little worried about our outside linebacking position. Mason Foster. I want to tell you right now, Mason Foster is going to be a target. He's going to be a target because right now I think him in the open flat is the biggest liability on this football team. Most teams don't have a linebacker that can cover a tight end. Most teams don't have a linebacker that can cover a slot receiver. That's a huge ask. And that's why we play nickel a good portion of the time, is to compensate for those linebacker positions. But I have to think that I think Mason might be getting a little bit worse in the flat than what he used to be. I don't know what's going on with him, but there were a couple plays in this Arizona game where I started to notice that the Cardinals were going on third down against Mason. They're taking a look at that one-on-one matchup and they're liking it. And I don't be surprised if you see that in the future. You know, taking a look at whoever it is that Mason Foster has, if it's man-on-man or even zone, he's having difficult playing both right now. So that's something to take a look at. One of the things I want to bring up, one of my players of the game, I would give this game football to a man who needed to step up for us this offseason, needed to make a difference for us because of some of the offseason shenanigans that we had at his position. This team is going to be leaning on his ability. He's been in the league now for a little bit, enough to give us some improvement at his position. And he was a big question mark going in. And playing this game, he did a phenomenal job, and I couldn't be happier right now with the performance and hoping that he sustains it. But Quinton Dunbar, unbelievable job against this Arizona team. Teams have been targeting that corner position opposite, Norman. And they have to. They have to, because that's the weakest spot in that secondary, as far as corners go, is Quinton Dunbar. And with the situations we've had at that corner position, I wouldn't blame teams for going after Quinton Dunbar. Quinton Dunbar made a statement, ladies and gentlemen, in week one. He made a statement. He said, target me. Go after my guy. I am up to the task. He did a great job closing on running plays, closing in on players, making tackles, stripping balls, batting balls away, picking off interceptions. I couldn't be happier. I could not be happier. He did a great job in this game. And it's comforting a little bit to see. He's going to get targeted against some really good quarterbacks and receiver combinations in this league. But Quinton Dunbar made a statement and is making a huge leap in the right direction. So Quinton Dunbar, I tip my hat to you, my friend. Literally, tip my hat to you. Phenomenal job, and let's hope that we see some sustained success from you out of that position, because God knows we definitely need it. Now, one of the things that I want to bring up, this next play that I want to bring up a particular play. And Alex Smith was really mobile in this football game, and it was really good to see. It's not a whole lot of what you normally see out of Alex Smith. And I have to admit, I'm not an Alex Smith connoisseur. I don't consume a lot of game footage of Alex Smith. So what he's been doing the last couple of years is not necessarily my forte. So maybe he's been doing this all along, but I don't seem to recall him being this mobile. He did a really good job of being mobile this year, but there's a particular play, second quarter, 8:47 left, 1st and 10, shotgun formation. Smith gets the ball and checks down 3 receivers. 1, 2, 3. Bails on the pocket because the pocket is collapsing. Shimmies his way out into the flat, and at the last minute before he's at that first down marker and he gets defenders on him, he actually ditches the ball. Great awareness on his, unbelievable awareness on his part. Gets the ball out to Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed catches it for a first down. I'm pretty sure a lot of you remember the play that I'm talking about. But he's not the one I want to talk about. Jordan Reed's not the one I want to talk about. I want to talk about Trent Williams. Again, second quarter, 8:47 left, 1st and 10, shotgun formation. Go back and take a look at that play. They actually went back and highlighted that play a couple plays after this, and they mentioned Chandler Jones going up against Trent Williams. Trent Williams pancaked Chandler Jones. We've all seen the Chandler Jones-Trent Williams combination before. We've seen that matchup before. And Chandler Jones does not fare well against Trent Williams. There are a lot of defensive ends and outside pass rushing linebackers that do not fare well against Trent Williams. Trent did a phenomenal job. There are some plays where Chandler Jones got a little bit of the better of him, but that's Chandler Jones. For the most part, Trent Williams owned Chandler Jones. And on that particular play, you got to see firsthand a little bit of frustration on Chandler Jones' part, a little bit of a mind slip on him, where he extends his body out of frustration, and Trent ain't having it. Trent just picks him up and throws him to the ground like a rag doll. I do believe we nicknamed the term in football, we call it pancaking. It's when you get pancaked. It's when you get manhandled and you get slammed and slathered to the ground like 150 pounds of used pancake batter. You're finished. And Trent Williams completely finished, this block and destroyed Chandler Jones on this play. And every time they showed that play, that's the only thing I would see. And I'm thinking to myself, this is what you pay. There's nobody else on this football team, and I would love to hear the argument to the contrary. There's nobody else on this football team that can sustain a Chandler Jones than Trent Williams. Nobody. There's nobody. And the part that kills me is that there's been a couple of us vid makers out there that have actually been waving the flag against so many naysayers talking about move Trent Williams to left guard because we played one quarter with him at left guard and we did really, really well. We should do that from now on. You guys are dumb. Morons. And this is the reason why you're morons. This is the reason why we pay Trent Williams the money that we pay him. Left tackle money to play left tackle. If you don't really ever hear a whole lot of Trent Williams, it's because he's doing his job. And doing his job is kicking your ass on defense. That is what he does. And the only time you really, really hear an offensive lineman usually is when he makes a mistake. We don't hear a whole lot of Trent Williams, and we got to pay attention to Trent Williams to see what it is that Trent Williams does. And Trent Williams takes on your best pass rusher and nullifies him. This guy, in my opinion, has had very, very close to a Hall of Fame career. If he keeps doing what he's doing, what's your argument against? He has destroyed so many pass rushers in this league that this game is a prime example of it. And as long as he stays healthy, as long as he stays a leader on this football team and keeps his nose clean like he knows how to do, he's going to be that caliber of football player for us. Hall of Fame client. He's going up against a lot of really, really good left tackles for the Washington Redskins throughout our history because we've got a ton of them. But I got to tell you, Trent Williams is up there. If he keeps playing the way that he's playing in this football game, I was just absolutely we're getting every single penny's worth that we're giving that guy. Every single penny's worth. Because there's no other way that you put anybody in that left tackle position and nullify a Chandler Jones the way that Trent Williams did. It's just not going to happen. So forget about your Ty Nsekes at left tackle and your moving Morgan Moses at left tackle and keeping Trent at guard. No. Forget it. That's not going to happen. That's pretty much going to do it for me in this synopsis of this football game. I think I've inundated you guys enough with some of my synopsis of this game. I'm going to be catching the Indianapolis game tomorrow. I'll be taking some notes. I'm going to be freeing up my ability to watch some of these games also. I don't know exactly when I'm going to be in the market for buying a laptop. Right now, that's going to be my next major purchase, is going to be buying a laptop so that I could take what it is that I do here on the road with me. You guys might even see me broadcast from some hotel rooms just to get some videos out. If you guys do see me broadcasting from hotel rooms, it's because I've got a laptop and I'm basically broadcasting from work. So for those of you that put out videos, keep doing what you guys are doing. I'm watching a lot of your guys' stuff, whether you guys know it or not. I don't really comment a whole lot anymore. I'm glad that I'm doing at least another season of this. It's been interesting. I'm seeing some really, really good things from this football team. I think now would be a dumb idea to bow out because there's some potential. There's some potential on this football team to actually start looking at some postseason play here. Like Jay Gruden said in his quote about Adrian Peterson, this is not a move for the future. We're ready to win right now. We are ready to go right now. And assume that we can keep a majority of our players healthy going into the months of November and December. This could be a very, very viable contender for the NFC East Championship. I mean, I think we're that talented. I think we're going to be surprising some people because we got hurt with so many people early last year. It was hard to gauge this football team because a lot of our starters were gone. A lot of our offensive line were third and fourth string players elsewhere. I mean, how can you dictate how well this team is doing when we're playing like crap? Because most of the people on this team are turnstile linemen. If we can stay healthy, you're not going to see that. If we can stay healthy, then we're going to see much, much better offensive play. I like the quarterback situation right now. Right now, Alex Smith is throwing like the best quarterback that we've had since the 90s. I do honestly think that he has that potential to be a great game manager. He's not going to be taking a whole lot of chances out there, so I think that's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of Redskin fans. But he has so far gone for that first down marker and has put himself out there. He knows how to slide. He knows how to ditch that ball at the last minute. He's got great vision. We'll see how long that lasts. But if we can keep him healthy, we keep him protected, to give him some options to throw that football, we've got makings of a really, really good team here, assuming that we can keep our running backs healthy too. So if you guys got any comments, if you guys got any questions, let me know. Post them down in the comment section below. Thank you very, very much for watching. And for those of us that are fans of the Twin Feather, we ride together. Redskins for life. Peace out. We'll catch you all next time.